It is a very common question that people ask. Shakti resides in each one of us. If Bhagwan is in each one of us, why is somebody bombing? Why are children getting murdered? Why is there so much rape? Why is there so much of hatred? That's simply because you have not awakened her true potential. You know that you have the gold within you, but you're not able to explore it. You're not able to do sadhana, enough concentration. I'm going to start today's lecture or a talk, if I may say so, with a very simple story. Many years ago, there was this wonderful light that was emanating from some far away galaxy. So visualize the entire thing. Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, the three Dev, they were walking on the millions of galaxies, and they were wondering where this light was coming from. So the three of them started to move towards that light, and as they approached that light, the light became even more evident and even more divine. Finally, they could see the silhouette of this woman who was meditating on a hillock. And from the middle of her forehead was this light that was emanating. It was so bright, but at the same time, it was subtle, like you could look into that light. And they were amazed because they have seen the suns and the stars and objects in the skies that are brighter than anything else before. But they were never able to look into it the way they could look into this light. And as they approach it closer, they see this beautiful woman who is sitting in meditation. As soon as she understands that there is a presence, she opens her eyes. And when she opens her eyes, all three of them are taken aback because they, in their entire form of evolution and creation and sustenance and destruction, have never seen somebody with that kind of a light. And then Shiva walks up in the front and he tells this Devi that I want to marry you. So Vishnu and Brahma take a step back, and for Shiva to say something like that, they are a little shocked. And the Devi opens her eyes and then she says that I like you too. I would like to marry you too. It was as simple as that. And Shiva says, I have only one condition. And the condition is that this beautiful third eye that you have. So this is a story of how Shiva got his third eye. Okay. So this third eye that you have, I need you to give that to me. Because there is nothing more mesmerizing than that I have seen. And that if you are so beautiful, when I look at you with just two eyes, imagine what I can see if I can see you with three eyes. Humored by that, the Devi offers the third eye. So she kind of meditates, and then slowly the third eye goes and it sits on top of Shiva's forehead. Shiva opens both his eyes and looks at the Devi, who now does not have that light around her, but she is more resplendent because she's clear, and she looks like if you touch her, she would disappear. She's that beautiful. And he says, now I want to see her with the third eye. And then when she opens the third eye, she is reduced to ash, because that's what the third eye does. It destroys everything that is in front of you. And he does not know what to do. And then Brahma and Vishnu come to him and say, this was just your gift by this divine universe, by this mother, where the first time the mother is referenced. And then you are now supposed to destroy everything that asks, because Shiva asks, because she demands. And so whenever the demand becomes so aggressive, it has to be destroyed. And then out of that pile of dust, Shiva bows down to it and he creates three Devis. One dust is Bhavani, the second pile of dust is Rama, and the third pile of dust is Rudrani or Durga. And after he creates these three beautiful women who are the form of the Devi herself, who is Shiva's wife, there is a little bit of dust that is still remaining. And then he picks up that dust and blows it. Like how we would blow something. We pick up a pile and if there's extra dust, we blow it off. And from that dust are created the women of this world. And that is why Shakti is nothing but an ansh, a small fraction of the dust of Paramba, who is larger than Shiva, Vishnu, or Brahma. So this is a very beautiful story. It's an analogy to make you understand what the Sanatana Dharma says about Shakti, about women, about the feminine. And that is why many people get very confused that when we talk about the feminine, it's only the women. Yes, a part of it, yes, it's about the women. But a part of it is it's about that entire feminine energy that is in all of us, whether we are biologically male or female, or now that recently a different gender or a third gender. The emotions, the Shakti, which is the feminine, is what it is. And so with that story, we are going to go ahead. There are some very interesting slides that we have made. So today's talk on the divine feminine is a very 101. It's a very basic. So there might be many people who are already into Shakti Upasana, who are already done a lot of reading. There are many who probably are just getting introduced to this topic. Whatever your background may be, this is a very basic understanding of who Shakti is, who Devi is, who the Navadurgas are, who the Mahavidyas are, who is a Grama Devi, who is a Kula Devi, and what is the importance of Devi in our life, right? So we will very quickly browse through this. And so the first is the sacred feminine. So when you see something like this is a very popular image that we see. We talk about, the Devi. So we have to understand that Shakti is the name given to the fundamental creative dynamism that has given rise to this universe. So Shakti is a process. It's not just a name. It's an entity. It's an energy, right? And so Shakti is considered the source of both matter and physical energy. So everything that you see, she has the ability to divide herself into thousands and millions of particles and to make the bird and the river and the mountain, because in everything there is energy. And that energy that makes the world come to what we can see right now is Shakti. Her dance is the dance of the cosmos. You have to understand that when she dances, the entire cosmos is dancing. In essence, that's what we learned, that in essence, yoga teaches us that there is Shakti in everything within. And yet, there is an aspect of Shakti that remains hidden, until it is awakened. Now, those are things that we need to understand. That are you really asleep? Are you already awakened? Because you are already awakened. It's just that you've not tapped inside your own capacity to awaken this energy so that it can take you to wherever you want to go. When Shakti resides in each one of us, there is a very common question that people ask. Shakti resides in each one of us. If Bhagwan is in each one of us, why is somebody bombing? Why are children getting murdered? Why is there so much rape? Why is there so much of hatred? That's simply because you have not awakened her true potential. You know that you have the gold within you, but you're not able to explore it. You're not able to do sadhana, enough concentration so that she can be awakened. And it's like you all have an iPhone. Everyone has an iPhone, but some of us use it to do this. Some of us will do it to do gossip. Some of us will do something so that we can create some kind of a scandal, or maybe a monetary scandal in the bank or something. So the energy you use is how the Devi will come in front of you. We all have the gadget. We all have been empowered. But are you using that? Are you becoming the sacred feminine yourself? Is what we are going to be kind of finding out at the end of this talk. We are going to be talking about, like I just tell, this is the Shri Vidya Yantra, and the topic of Yantra, Tantra is very, very, very deep. And maybe in good time, either we or you will find people who will show you the right path to do Tantra Sadhana or Yantra Sadhana, right? But when you look at this entire diagram, it talks about all the outer circles. 1, 2, 3. There are 3 outer circles that talk about the Patala Loka, this Dharti, the Pitra Loka, and the heavens, right? So from Bhur, Bhuva, Swaha, from all 3 energies, all the triangles, the 64 triangles that are there in the Shakti, is to the 64 fundamental activities or energies that encompass this universe, from kinetic energy to magnetic energy to all the kind of energies that you can think about. So when she stands in the front, the Bindu in the center is her. And so when she stands in the center, the entire cosmos will go in a rotation. And that is energy, right? And that energy comes from the single most dot called Bindu or Anu. And now we know that everybody knows that we are talking about quantum physics. We're talking about the God's particle. It's one small atom that has given birth to trillions and trillions and trillions of other atoms. That we know as the universe today. We quickly come back to Navaratris because it's something that people are very, very, very fascinated about. And they really want to know what the Navaratras are all about. And so we talked about the Navaratri. The Navaratri are, so this has been allotted according to the way the cosmos works, because we follow the lunar cycle. So the lunar cycle is the cycle for the mana, for our mind. And the solar cycle is the cycle for buddhi or intelligence. Correct? So when the lunar cycle, because Navaratri is feminine energy is directly connected to our minds and to the female energy, the female aspect of feeling, of passion, of love, all of that. And so it has been divided into 4 Navaratris throughout the year. The first Navaratri is what we are going through right now. Today is the Saptami, and we are talking about the Sharad Navaratri, which comes at this time. And then you have the Chaitra Navaratri that comes in April. And then in January, February, before Chaitra Navaratri, the Magh Navaratri, which comes in January, February. Then you have the Chaitra Navaratri, and then you have the Ashad Navaratri that comes in June and July. And the Magh Navaratri is also celebrated as Vasant Panchami. And that Navaratri is also the Gupta Navaratri. The Gupta Navaratri is done for people who are advanced in Tantric Sadhana, on Tantra Sadhana, or the Shri Vidya Sadhana of the day. Shailputri, she's the first Devi, and I've given these beautiful mantras. They have come to me through my guru as Diksha, but you can definitely keep them. And because you're part of this whatever process, you can even chant them, right? So you know that she is the first form and is also known as the daughter of the mountains. And she's of the earth, she represents the earth, and she is the absolute form of the goddess, right? She is the Putri of the mountain, so she herself is like a mountain. She's very, very solid, she's very strong, she's very, very, she has a vision. What does a mountain do? It is right above and can look at the entire earth. So she is already on a very high level, transcended to a very high level of consciousness, and that she can keep an eye on all of us. And this are her main mantras as Om Devi Shailputri Namaha. You can chant this every morning if you wish to, during the Navaratris or even otherwise. And the main mantra is Aim Hreem Kleem Chamundai Vichai. Aim Hrim Klim Chamundai Viche is a mantra that every single person must practice for at least 21 times in a day. And it gives you a lot of understanding, it gives you a lot of grounding, as a human being. And so that when you start chanting these mantras, their energies are already in the Brahmanda, they are all roaming around. But when you chant those mantras, those energies come drawn towards you. And Devi Puja or Devi Parayana that we call, or her stuti that we call, or her sadhana that we call, is probably the most difficult out of Vaishnava tradition or the Shaiva traditions. The Shakta traditions are extremely difficult to follow, simply because there is so much energy that you have to empower yourself to be able to take that energy and use it. Right? So that's about Shailputri. The next is Brahmacharini. So where they say that the Navadurgas is all about the life of a woman. Right? So as a Shailputri, she's born. As a Brahmacharini, she attains a youthful side. And then the Devi tries to say that from your 8 years onwards to your 16 years, you are supposed to be a Brahmachari. Right? So she symbolizes simplicity. You will see that, she will not wear a footwear. Basically shows that she does sadhana, she does tapa, you know. Then after that, Brahmacharini ke baad is then the next phase of a woman's life. But when we are in the concept of Brahmacharini, we basically say that, she is somebody who has practiced tough penance. And that basically tells us that, this 7 to 8 or 10 years where we're in school, and from school where we are going to college, between that time, we should be very focused on tapa. Our tapa is our duty towards society, to ourselves, to our growth, to our, you doing your studies, and you do it in the form of a tapasya. Don't do it just because somebody is telling you to do it. So when you start chanting these mantras, Om Devi Brahmacharini Nama, Om Devi Brahmacharini Nama, when young girls start to chant it, if their parents have given them that sanskara, they become very, very focused without getting, divulged into other things that are not important. And that is why the Brahmacharini Devi is worshipped. She is worshipped as Aim Bhagava Nidhi Mama Hriye Shrita Bhava Sarva Sarva Shankari Swaha. So basically the whole idea is that I am surrendering myself to this phase of my life, which is about tapascharya. And that is what Devi Brahmacharini symbolizes. Then we have the third Devi, who is Chandraghanta. Chandraghanta is again the third form of Navadurga. Hrim Shubhagayai Swaha. Hrim Shubhagayai Swaha. Hrim Shubhagayai. She stands for Shubhata. She talks about she's called a Chandraghanta because she takes Shiva's the sun, the moon, and then places it on her head, symbolizing that now she and Shiva are the same, and she holds a bell in her hand, so announcing that now is a new phase. So when a girl gets married, she adopts everything of her husband, and she is now, everybody around that family knows now she is the one who's going to make the way. She's the one who's going to take this family's next generation ahead. And that is why Chandraghanta, with her kamandalo, her bell, and her chandra, and a lotus flower, and she has a bow and an arrow. At the same time, she has a japamala, saying that women, when they get married, they have to also learn to be calm, but also ferocious if the time has to come, right? They have to dabble against so many things. They multitask in so many ways. And all our Devis are a representation of that multitasking, but that energy of doing several things at the same time effectively only a woman can do. So Chandraghanta basically is this beautiful young bride who has come into Shiva's love, and that's her third day. The fourth is Khusaamanda. The next phase of a woman is becoming pregnant, and Khusaamanda. So on the kusha grass, right? Anda means a egg. So she is the one who gives birth. In a larger context, when you start doing Tantra Sadhana and you get into Kali Puja or the Dasha Mahavidya Puja, There are beautiful analogies about how in millions and millions of galaxies there was only darkness, and from that darkness emerged the light that I told you about, the light of Paramba. She was Paramba who gave Shiva his third eye, and she holds the egg of entire life, of the sustaining life that we see here. And so little energy, so kusha, grass kusha, small, tiny, very minute, but what does that contain? It contains the egg of creation, which I just gave you an analogy, that everything is anu, everything is a bindu, everything is a seed, everything is an atom. And that, the generator of that atom, the generator of that life is Kushmanda. And so, in a very primordial level, we will talk about Kushmanda as the fourth Devi, and that she is the mother of the entire universe. But as soon as our practice goes up, we understand that we are talking about quantum physics at one time. And when we talk about Devi Kushmanda, it talks about God's particle, and that anda is that God's particle, which has given rise to this entire universe. Okay, and she says that, Kushmanda is so powerful that she stays at the center of the sun, that she's so brilliant, her energy is so big that, she mounts a tigress, because a tigress represents, what are the characteristics of a tiger, right? That she's very protective, very possessive, lives alone, takes care of her cubs all alone, a tiger lives her entire life alone, so she herself stays in the center, holding that anu, holding that anda, and giving birth to the entire cosmos. But she's all alone, she's in that dark, and in that dark space, her tantric mantra is klim kapalike karalavadayani swaha. And that is why, with a proper guru, you can take these things forward. If it is in your prarabdha, they say that the very fact that you and I are talking on this topic is that we probably have done something in our past birth, and that we have the krupa of our pitrus, krupa of our devas, our devatas, and our karmas, and that is why we are able to discuss this. There are millions and millions of people who are nowhere near this, so we have to congratulate each other for taking interest in this, and giving our time and energy. One small thing from this will take you to your path ahead.